Karen Phillips had been alone on the space station for 3 months. The station floated high above a red planet. She was there to watch the mining robots work on the surface below. It was a boring job. Every day was the same. She woke up, checked the computers, fixed broken things, and went back to sleep. The station was not big. It had narrow halls with gray metal walls. The lights flickered sometimes. The air always smelled like old machines. Karen missed Earth. She missed real food and real coffee. The food on the station came from packets. The coffee tasted like burnt plastic. But she had 6 more months before she could go home. On this particular day, Karen sat in the observation room. She looked out the big window at the planet below. It spun slowly, the same view she saw every day. She drank her terrible coffee and tried not to think about how lonely she was. Then her computer made a noise. Another problem. Section 7 again. Karen stood up and walked to the equipment room. She grabbed her toolkit and headed toward Section 7. The walk took 10 minutes. Her boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. She liked that sound. At least it was something different from the usual quiet. Section 7 was at the edge of the station. It was colder there. When Karen opened the door, she could see her breath in the air. The ventilation fan had stopped working. That explained why it was so cold. She knelt down next to the broken fan and opened the metal cover. Karen pulled out her tools. She had fixed this fan 5 times already. The wires inside were old and kept breaking. She reached into the machine to find the problem. That was when she heard something move behind her. She stopped. Her heart started beating faster. She was supposed to be alone on this station. There were no other people here. No animals. Nothing alive except her. So what had made that sound? Karen turned her head slowly. At first she saw nothing, just shadows in the corner. Then something moved into the light. Karen forgot to breathe. It was an animal, but not any animal from Earth. It was about as big as a large dog. Its fur was dark, almost black, with spots of gray. The fur looked thick and soft. But what really caught Karen's attention were its eyes. They were huge, golden yellow. They glowed a little in the dim light. The pupils were long and thin like a cat's eyes. The creature had 6 legs. Each leg ended in paws with claws that looked sharp. Its tail was long and moved slowly from side to side. Karen could see that it was young. Its head was too big for its body. Its legs looked a little too long. It reminded her of a puppy, all awkward and clumsy. Karen's hand went to the emergency button on her belt. She should call for help. This was an unknown creature. It could be dangerous. But she did not push the button. The creature was not attacking her. It was just standing there watching her. Its head tilted to one side like it was curious. The two of them stared at each other. Karen stayed very still. The creature took one small step forward, then another. Its big eyes never left her face. Karen could hear her own heart beating. She tried to think. What should she do? Run? Stay still? Talk to it? She decided to talk. Her voice came out as a whisper. Where did you come from? The creature's ears moved when she spoke. Or at least Karen thought they were ears. They were small and round and sat on top of its head. The creature came closer. It walked in a strange way, all 6 legs moving in a pattern that looked like a wave. It was beautiful to watch. The creature circled around Karen slowly. She turned to keep it in sight. She was scared but also amazed. An alien, a real alien, on her station. Then Karen felt something on her back. It was light, like fingers brushing against her uniform. A soft scratch ran down her back. Not hard enough to hurt, just a gentle touch. The creature was testing her, trying to understand what she was. Karen turned around slowly. The creature was right in front of her now, so close she could have touched it. Its golden eyes looked into hers. Karen saw intelligence there, and something else. The creature looked scared, and lonely, just like her. What happened next surprised Karen more than anything. The creature moved closer and pressed its body against her side. It curled up next to her, its tail wrapping around her leg. A sound came from inside its chest. A low rumbling noise. It sounded like a cat purring, but deeper and louder. Karen sat there, too shocked to move. An alien predator cub was using her as a pillow. It was purring. She did not know what to do. Should she push it away? Should she stay still? Should she be afraid? After a minute, Karen slowly reached out her hand. She touched the creature's fur very gently. It was softer than it looked. Warm, too. The creature's purring got louder. It seemed to like being petted. Karen smiled. She could not help it. 3 months of being alone and now this. An alien friend, or at least she hoped it would be a friend. She kept petting the creature's fur. It pushed its head against her hand, wanting more. Well, Karen said quietly, I guess I'm not alone anymore. The creature made a small chirping sound like it was agreeing with her. Karen looked at the broken fan. She should fix it. But the creature was so comfortable against her side. She did not want to move and scare it away. The fan could wait. Right now, she just wanted to sit here with this strange, wonderful creature. She thought about all the questions she had. Where did it come from? How did it get on the station? Was it alone like her? Did it have a family somewhere? Was someone looking for it? But those questions could wait. For now, Karen just sat on the cold floor of Section 7, petting an alien creature that purred like a cat and seemed to trust her completely. It was the best thing that had happened to her in 3 months. The creature's eyes started to close. It was falling asleep. Karen kept petting it gently. She realized she was smiling. A real smile. Not the fake smile she used when talking to her computer. A real happy smile. You need a name, Karen whispered. She thought for a moment. The creature had found her. It had searched the station until it found another living thing. Scout. That is a good name for you. Scout. Scout opened one golden eye and looked at her. Then it made a small happy sound and closed its eye again. Karen laughed quietly. Scout it is. Outside the window, the red planet kept turning. The stars kept shining. The mining robots kept working. Everything was the same as it had been an hour ago. But for Karen, everything had changed. She was not alone anymore. She had Scout, and somehow that made all the difference. Karen spent the next few days learning about Scout. The creature was smart. Very smart. On the first day, Scout learned its name. Karen only had to say it a few times before Scout understood. When Karen called out Scout, the creature would run to her, its 6 legs moving in that strange wave pattern. Scout also learned how to open doors. The station had automatic doors that opened when someone walked near them. Scout watched Karen go through doors a few times. Then Scout tried it alone. The creature walked up to a door and waited. The door opened. Scout made a happy chirping sound and ran through. But Karen still had one big question. How did Scout get on the station? She checked all the computer records. She looked for any sign of a hole in the station's walls. She searched for records of ships docking. There was nothing. It was like Scout had appeared out of thin air. Karen made a sleeping area for Scout in one of the empty storage rooms. She used old blankets and soft padding from broken equipment. Scout seemed to like it, but the creature did not sleep there much. Scout preferred to follow Karen everywhere she went. When Karen ate, Scout sat beside her. When Karen worked, Scout watched. When Karen slept, Scout curled up at the foot of her bed. Karen gave Scout some of her food. The creature liked the protein bars from the emergency supplies. Scout would eat them carefully, taking small bites. Karen heated the bars in the food warmer first. Scout seemed to prefer warm food. 4 days after finding Scout, Karen was working in the communications room. She was checking the equipment like she did every day. Scout was lying in a corner, half asleep. Suddenly, Scout jumped up. The creature's fur stood up all over its body. It started making a sound Karen had never heard before. A high, sharp noise that hurt her ears. Scout ran to the window and pressed its face against the glass. The creature stared down at the planet below. Karen went to the window too. At first, she did not see anything different. Just the same red planet, the same clouds, the same mining robots. Then she saw it. A ship was coming down through the clouds. It was not a human ship. The shape was all wrong. It looked like someone had taken a bunch of sharp triangles and stuck them together. The ship was gray and smooth and moved in a way that seemed impossible. Karen's heart started beating fast. She ran to her computer screen. The ship should show up on her scanners. Every ship that came close to the station showed up on the scanners. But her screen showed nothing. According to the computer, there was no ship. But Karen could see it with her own eyes. Scout was making that high sound again. The creature looked up at Karen with its big golden eyes. For the first time since they met, Scout looked truly afraid. The creature was shaking. Karen knelt down and put her hand on Scout's head. They are looking for you, aren't they? Scout pressed against her leg, still shaking. Karen made a decision. She picked up Scout. The creature was lighter than it looked. Karen carried Scout to the maintenance bay. There was an old tunnel in the maintenance bay. It led to the emergency escape pods. No one used it anymore. It was the best hiding place Karen could think of. She put Scout down in the tunnel. "Stay here," she said in a firm voice. "Do not make any sounds." Scout looked up at her. The creature's eyes were wide and scared, but Scout seemed to understand. The creature curled up into a small ball and became very quiet. Karen touched Scout's head one more time. Then she closed the tunnel entrance and went back to the communications room. Karen got back just in time. Her communications screen lit up. A voice came through. It was speaking English, but the voice sounded strange, like a computer trying to sound human. Karen turned on the video screen. The alien on the screen was tall. Its skin looked like oil shimmering with different colors. It had 4 arms. Its face was very smooth and symmetrical. Too symmetrical. It looked almost fake. The alien's eyes were small and dark. The alien spoke. "Human station keeper, we are sorry to bother you. We are searching for a young member of our species. It escaped from our ship. The creature is very dangerous. We must find it quickly. We need to search your station." Karen kept her face calm. She had been trained for situations like this in the military. She knew how to hide her feelings. "I have not seen any creatures on this station," she said. "My scanners would have detected it." The alien's face did not change, but something about the way it stood made Karen think it did not believe her. "We must search anyway. Please prepare for us to come aboard." The screen went dark. Karen sat back in her chair. Her hands were shaking now. The alien had said Scout was dangerous, but Karen knew that was not true. Scout was gentle. The creature had never tried to hurt her. Not even once. Scout liked to be petted. Scout purred. Scout followed her around like a puppy. So the aliens were lying. But why? What did they want with Scout? Karen thought about Scout's scared eyes. The way the creature had shaken when it saw the ship. Scout was not dangerous. Scout was afraid of them. Karen had 10 minutes before the aliens would dock. 10 minutes to decide what to do. She could tell them about Scout. That would be the safe thing. The correct thing according to the rules. But every instinct in her body said it would be the wrong thing. She thought about Scout curled up in the dark tunnel, scared and alone, trusting Karen to protect it. Karen had been alone for 3 months before Scout came. She knew what loneliness felt like. She knew what it was like to be far from home with no one to help you. Karen stood up. She walked around the communications room thinking hard. She looked at her hands. They had stopped shaking. She felt calm now. She knew what she had to do. She was going to protect Scout. Even if it meant lying to the aliens. Even if it was dangerous. Even if she got in trouble. Scout had trusted her. Had curled up next to her and purred. Had looked at her with those big golden eyes full of hope. Karen was not going to let those aliens take Scout away. She did not care what their reasons were. She did not care if they said Scout was dangerous. She knew the truth. The docking alarm sounded. The aliens were here. Karen took a deep breath. She straightened her uniform. She put on her calm, professional face. Then she went to meet them. She would play her part. She would be the helpful human station keeper. She would let them search. And she would make sure they found nothing. Because Scout was not just some escaped creature. Scout was her friend. And Karen protected her friends. That was the human way. 3 aliens came aboard the station. They all looked the same, tall with shimmering skin and 4 arms each. They moved in a strange way, very smooth and precise like machines. They carried devices that beeped and flashed with lights. Scanning devices, Karen guessed. Karen walked with them through the station. She showed them each section. She answered their questions. She tried to look helpful and cooperative. Inside, her heart was beating fast. But she kept her face calm. One of the aliens looked at her as they walked. "Your species is called human, correct?" Its voice was flat and emotionless. "Yes," Karen answered. The alien continued. "We have heard about humans. You are very emotional creatures. That is considered a weakness among civilized species." Karen wanted to argue. But she just said, "We do our jobs well." The alien did not respond. They kept walking through the narrow corridors of the station. They reached the maintenance bay. Karen's stomach felt tight. This was where Scout was hiding. She watched as one alien moved its scanning device along the walls. The device made beeping sounds. Then it beeped faster. The alien stopped. "There is a heat signature here. the alien announced. It pointed at the wall, right where the tunnel entrance was hidden. Karen forced herself to shrug. Those are the coolant pipes. They run through that section. Sometimes they get hot when the insulation gets old and breaks down. The alien stared at the wall for a long moment. Karen held her breath. Then the alien moved on. Karen let her breath out slowly. She tried not to show her relief. The search took over an hour. The aliens checked every room, every closet, every corner. They found nothing. Finally, they gathered in the docking bay. Their leader looked at Karen with its small, dark eyes. "The creature is not here," it said. "But if you see it, you must contact us immediately. It is extremely dangerous. It comes from a world of predators. The creature will attack without warning. Do you understand?" Karen nodded. "I understand. I will call you if I see anything." The aliens left. Their strange ship pulled away from the station and disappeared into the darkness of space. Karen waited until she was sure they were gone. Then she ran to the maintenance bay. She opened the tunnel entrance. Scout was still there, curled up in a tight ball. When the creature saw Karen, it jumped up and ran to her. Scout pressed its head against Karen's chest. The purring sound came back, loud and strong. "It is okay," Karen said softly. She petted Scout's fur. "They are gone. You are safe." Scout looked up at her with those big golden eyes. Karen could see trust in those eyes. Complete trust. It made her more certain that she had made the right choice. Over the next few days, Karen thought a lot about the aliens and their lies. They said Scout was dangerous, but Karen had spent days with Scout now. The creature was gentle. When Karen petted Scout, the creature purred. When Karen talked, Scout listened. When Karen was sad or tired, Scout would curl up next to her, offering comfort. Scout never tried to hurt her, not once. Even when Karen accidentally stepped on Scout's tail, the creature just made a small sound of surprise and moved away. No biting, no scratching, no attacking. The aliens had lied, but why? Karen started to notice other things about Scout. The creature was afraid of loud noises. When machinery made a sudden sound, Scout would jump and hide. Scout did not like being in small closed spaces. The creature would become nervous and try to get out. These were not the behaviors of a predator. These were the behaviors of prey, of something that had been hunted. One evening, Karen was sitting in the observation room. She was looking out at the stars and thinking. Scout came and sat beside her. The creature looked up at Karen, then down at its paw. Scout held something. It was a small object, smooth and round like a stone, but it glowed with a soft light. Scout pressed the object into Karen's hand. Karen looked at it, confused. "What is this?" Scout made a chirping sound and touched the stone with one claw. Suddenly, the observation room filled with light. Pictures appeared in the air. They were so real that Karen felt like she could touch them. She saw a planet. It was beautiful. Green forests covered the land. Blue ocean sparkled. Cities rose from the ground, but they looked natural, like they had grown there instead of being built. Karen saw creatures like Scout. Hundreds of them. They lived in those cities. They seemed happy and peaceful. Karen saw them working together, creating beautiful things. Art and music and buildings that looked like living sculptures. This was Scout's homeworld. This was where Scout came from. Then the pictures changed. Ships came to the planet. The same kind of ship that had come to the station. The aliens with the shimmering skin arrived. At first, it looked like they were just visiting. But then the pictures showed violence. The aliens attacked. They hunted Scout's people. Karen watched in horror as the creatures like Scout tried to run and hide. But there were too many aliens. They captured Scout's people. They took them away on their ships. The beautiful cities were destroyed. The forests burned. The pictures showed Scout as a baby, smaller than it was now. An adult creature, probably Scout's parent, put Scout on a ship. The parent was crying. Karen could not hear sounds, but she could see the pain in the parent's face. It was a desperate act. The parent was trying to save Scout by sending the young creature away. The pictures faded. The observation room became normal again. Karen looked down at Scout. The creature was watching her, waiting to see if she understood. Karen felt tears on her face. She was crying. She understood now. Scout was not a dangerous predator. Scout was a refugee, a survivor, the last remnant of a destroyed civilization. "I am so sorry," Karen whispered. She pulled Scout close and hugged the creature. "I am so sorry this happened to you. I am sorry about your home. I am sorry about your family." Scout pressed against her and made a soft, sad sound. They sat together for a long time. Karen kept her arms around Scout. She understood everything now. The aliens who came to the station were not trying to rescue Scout. They were trying to recapture Scout. Scout had escaped from them, and they wanted Scout back, but why? What did they want with Scout's people? The pictures had shown them taking prisoners. Not killing, but capturing. That meant they wanted Scout's people alive for some reason. Karen felt anger growing inside her. Whatever the reason was, it was wrong. What the aliens had done was evil. Karen made a decision. She was not going to let the aliens have Scout. She did not care what she had to do. She would protect Scout, even if it meant fighting, even if it meant risking her own life. Scout had trusted her. Scout had shown her the truth. And Karen was not going to let Scout down. She stood up, still holding the glowing stone. Scout looked up at her. Karen smiled down at the creature. "Do not worry," she said. "I'm going to keep you safe. I promise." And humans always keep their promises. Karen knew she could not protect Scout alone. The aliens had ships and weapons. They had technology that was far better than anything humans had. If they came back with more force, Karen would not be able to stop them. She needed help. She started by sending messages to her commanders on Earth. She asked careful questions about the aliens. She called them the Collective, which was the name they had given her. She asked if Earth knew anything about them. The answers she got back were not very helpful. The Collective was new to human space. Earth's diplomats were still trying to make friendly contact with them. Karen realized she needed to talk to someone she could trust. Someone who would believe her and help her. She thought of Gregory Holt. Greg was an old friend from her military training days. He now worked in naval intelligence. If anyone could help, it would be Greg. Karen sent Greg a message using a secret channel, the kind of channel that nobody else could listen to. She told him what had happened. She told him about Scout. She told him about the Collective and their lies. She told him about the pictures in the glowing stone. When she finished, there was a long silence. Finally, Greg's voice came through. "Karen, you are playing a very dangerous game." "I know," she answered. Greg continued. "We have been hearing strange things about the Collective. There are rumors. Some species made contact with them and then went silent. Some colonies stopped answering our calls. The military is worried, but they are being careful. They do not want to start a war, so what should I do?" Karen asked. Greg was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You need proof. Real proof. Can you record everything? All the evidence? If what you are saying is true, we need to show it to the right people. Can you do that?" "Yes," Karen said. "I can do that." "Good," Greg replied. "Be careful, Karen, and send me everything you can." She ended the call and looked at Scout. The creature was sleeping in a patch of sunlight. Scout looked peaceful and innocent. Karen felt more determined than ever to protect this gentle creature. Over the next week, Karen recorded everything. She used the glowing stone to capture all the pictures Scout had shown her. She wrote detailed notes about Scout's behavior. She documented how gentle Scout was, how smart, how afraid of the Collective. She created a complete report with all the evidence. The glowing stone contained more than just pictures. It had sounds too, and smells somehow turned into data. It even had feelings stored in it. Scout's entire history was in that small stone. The story of a peaceful species that was destroyed by the Collective. A species that never hurt anyone, that only wanted to create beautiful things and live in peace. Karen learned that Scout's people called themselves the Weavers. They shaped their world using living things. Their buildings grew from seeds. Their technology was organic, like plants and animals mixed with machines. They created art and music that was supposed to be wonderful. They had no armies because they never fought wars. They did not even understand the concept of war until the Collective came. Karen was finishing her report when the station's alarm suddenly blared. Ships were approaching. Karen ran to the main screen. Her heart sank. 3 ships had just arrived. 2 were Collective ships, but the third was human. It was a big warship called the Orion. A message came through. "This is Captain Helen Vance of the Orion. Lieutenant Phillips, we have received reports about unauthorized alien activity in this area. I need you to give me a full report on your station's status immediately." Karen did not know Captain Vance, but she knew the captain's reputation. Vance was known for following the rules. She was fair but strict. Karen was not sure if Vance would understand about Scout. Should she tell the captain everything? Or should she keep hiding Scout? Before Karen could decide, another message came through. It was from the collective. Captain Vance, we appreciate your concern, but this does not need human involvement. We are just recovering lost property. The station keeper has been helpful. There is no reason for you to be here. Lost property. Those two words made Karen angry. Scout was not property. Scout was a person, a living, thinking, feeling person. The collective was treating Scout like an object, like a thing they owned. Karen made her decision right then. Captain Vance, Karen said into the communication system. I need to speak with you privately. It is very important. There was a pause. Then Vance's voice came back, professional and serious. Understood, Lieutenant. Stand by for a secure channel. The collective sent another message. They sounded more urgent now. Captain, we must insist that you do not interfere. This is our internal matter. You have no authority here. But Vance's response was calm and firm. I am afraid I cannot do that. Lieutenant Phillips is a human officer. She works under my command. If she says there is a problem, I am required to investigate. I'm sure you understand. Karen felt a wave of relief. Vance was not going to just leave. The captain was going to help. Or at least she was going to listen. That was all Karen needed. A chance to explain. A chance to show the evidence. Scout came into the room and pressed against Karen's leg. The creature was shaking again. Scout could sense the tension. Karen reached down and petted Scout's head. It is going to be okay, she whispered. We are going to get through this together. I promise. The secure channel opened. Captain Vance's face appeared on the screen. She looked at Karen with sharp, intelligent eyes. All right, Lieutenant, talk to me. What is really happening on your station? Karen took a deep breath. She was about to tell a human military captain that she had been hiding an alien refugee and lying to another alien species. This could end her career. She could be arrested, but she had to do it. For Scout Captain, Karen began, I need to show you something, and I need you to hear me out before you make any decisions. Can you do that? Vance studied her for a moment. Then the captain nodded. Go ahead, Lieutenant. I am listening, Karen told her everything. She started with finding Scout in Section 7. She described the collective's visit and their lies about Scout being dangerous. She explained about the glowing stone and the pictures it contained. She talked about the Weavers and what had happened to them. She told Vance about her research and the reports of species going silent after meeting the collective. When she finished, Vance was silent. Karen waited, her heart pounding. Finally, the captain spoke. Show me. Show me this creature and the evidence you have collected. Karen nodded. Yes, Captain. Right away. 3 hours later, Captain Vance arrived on the station. She came with a small security team. Karen met them in the docking bay. She was nervous but determined. Vance dismissed her security team and followed Karen to the observation room. They needed to talk privately. All right, Lieutenant, Vance said once they were alone. Show me everything. Karen called for Scout. The creature came out of its hiding place slowly. Scout was nervous around the new human, but Karen petted Scout and spoke softly, and eventually Scout calmed down enough to approach Vance. Vance knelt down slowly. She made herself smaller and less threatening. Hello there, she said in a gentle voice. You have certainly caused a lot of trouble, haven't you? Scout tilted its head and looked at Vance with those big golden eyes. The creature seemed to be deciding if this new human was safe. Then Scout did something that surprised Karen. The creature picked up the glowing stone and pressed it into Vance's hand. Just like Scout had done with Karen, the pictures began to play. Vance watched in silence. Her expression grew more and more serious as she saw what had happened to the Weavers. When the pictures ended, Vance looked at Karen. Her face was grim. This changes everything, the captain said quietly. If this is true, the collective has been committing genocide. And Earth has been trying to make friends with them. We need to do something about this. Captain Vance made her decision quickly. She stood up and looked at Karen with determination in her eyes. We are going to protect Scout, she said. And then we are going to make sure everyone knows the truth about the collective. Karen felt relief wash over her. Thank you, Captain. Vance shook her head. Do not thank me yet. This is going to get complicated. Vance was right. The collective did not like her decision at all. When the captain told them that Scout would stay under human protection, the collective became angry. More of their ships arrived. Big warships that made the Orion look small. For 2 days, it looked like there might be a battle. But Vance was busy during those 2 days. She sent all of Karen's evidence to Earth. She sent the pictures from the glowing stone, She sent Karen's reports. She sent her own observations about Scout. She explained everything to Fleet Command, the people who controlled Earth's military. The response from Earth came quickly. Fleet Command ordered that Scout must be protected at any cost. Earth was stopping all friendly talks with the Collective until there was a full investigation. They wanted to know the truth about what had happened to the Weavers. When the Collective heard this, they had to make a choice. They could fight humanity and start a war, or they could back down. The Collective chose to back down. Their ships left the area. But before they went, they sent a message. It was a warning. They said humans were making a mistake by interfering. They said there would be consequences. Karen watched the Collective ships leave from the observation window. Scout stood beside her, pressing against her leg. The creature was not shaking anymore. Scout seemed to understand that the danger had passed, at least for now. What happens now? Karen asked Vance, who had come to watch the ships depart. The captain crossed her arms. Now we search for survivors. Scout's memories suggest there might be more Weavers out there, hiding from the Collective. We are going to find them and offer them safety. She looked down at Scout. As for this one, I think that decision is up to you, Lieutenant. Karen looked at Scout. The creature gazed back at her with complete trust. I would like to keep working with Scout, Karen said. Help with the search. Maybe teach Scout more about humans, and humans more about Weavers. Vance smiled. It was a rare expression on the captain's stern face. I think that can be arranged. You did good work here, Phillips. You followed your heart when it mattered. That takes courage. Over the next few months, everything changed for Karen and Scout. They left the lonely station and joined the crew of the Orion. Karen became Scout's official guardian. Her job was to take care of Scout and help the creature communicate with other humans. It was the best job Karen had ever had. They traveled together on the Orion as part of a rescue mission. They used the glowing stone to help find other Weavers. Scout would show them pictures of places the Weavers might hide. Karen and the crew would search those places. It was slow work, but it was important work. They found the first survivor on a small moon. It was a young Weaver hiding in an old mine. The creature was scared and thin, but when it saw Scout, it came out of hiding. The two Weavers touched heads and made soft sounds. Karen could tell they were communicating. Maybe they had known each other before. Maybe they were family. She did not know. But she was happy they had found each other. Over time, they found more survivors. 17 in total. All of them were young like Scout. All of them had been traumatized by what they had experienced. But they were alive, and now they were safe. Earth gave the Weavers a protected world. It was a beautiful planet with forests and oceans, not unlike their original home. The Weavers started to build a new community there. They began to heal from their trauma. They started creating their art and music again. Slowly, they were becoming themselves again. Scout chose to live in two places. Sometimes Scout stayed with the other Weavers on their new world, but other times Scout traveled with Karen on the Orion. Scout became a bridge between the two species. The creature helped humans understand Weavers and helped Weavers understand humans. As for the Collective, they learned something important about humans. Humans might be emotional, but that emotion included a fierce need to protect the innocent. Humans would not tolerate genocide or slavery or cruelty. The Collective tried to test this a few times. There were some diplomatic arguments. One brief fight between ships. But eventually, the Collective learned to stay away from human space. 1 year after finding Scout, Karen sat in the observation room of the Orion. It was late at night. Most of the crew was asleep. Scout was curled up beside her, purring that deep, rumbling purr. Karen petted the creature's soft fur and looked out at the stars. She thought about that first day in Section 7, when she had felt a soft scratch run down her back. When she had turned to see a frightened alien cub seeking comfort. She had made a choice in that moment. A simple choice to be kind instead of afraid, to help instead of report, to trust instead of follow the rules. That one choice had changed everything. It had saved Scout. It had helped save an entire species. It had shown humanity what the Collective really was. And it had given Karen something she had never expected. A true friend from another world? Scout looked up at her. Those big golden eyes reflected the starlight. They were filled with trust and affection. Karen smiled and scratched behind Scout's ears. The purring grew louder, filling the quiet observation room with its warm sound. Outside, the universe was huge. full of dangers and mysteries, full of species like the Collective who did terrible things, but it was also full of species like the Weavers who created beautiful things, and species like humans who tried to protect those who could not protect themselves. Karen had learned something important over the past year. The universe was not just about being strong or having good technology. It was about making the right choices, about being kind when you could be cruel, about being brave when you could be safe, about helping when you could ignore. That was what made humans special, not their weapons or their ships or their technology. It was their ability to care, to feel compassion for others, even others who were very different from them. That emotion that the Collective called a weakness was actually a strength, maybe the greatest strength of all. Scout made a small happy sound and snuggled closer. Karen wrapped her arm around the creature. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the stars drift by. Two beings from different worlds, two friends who had found each other by chance, who had saved each other in different ways. Karen thought about the future. There would be more challenges ahead. The Collective was still out there. There might be other Weavers to find. There would be diplomatic problems and difficult decisions. But Karen was not worried. She had Scout. She had Captain Vance and the crew of the Orion. She had Earth's support, and most importantly, she had learned to trust her instincts. Sometimes the right thing to do was not the easy thing or the safe thing or the thing the rules told you to do. Sometimes the right thing was just to be kind, to show compassion, to protect someone who needed help. And if you did that, if you followed your heart, good things could happen. Amazing things. Things that changed the universe. Scout's purring continued, steady and comforting. Karen closed her eyes and listened to that sound. It was the sound of contentment, of safety, of friendship. It was enough. More than enough. It was everything. The stars kept shining. The ship kept moving through space. And in the observation room, a human and a Weaver sat together, watching the endless universe roll by. Friends, protectors, survivors. Together, they had made a difference. And they would continue to make a difference, one kind choice at a time.